Hi Gemini, welcome to your March 2022 General Tarot reading. It's Raina here. I've got my amethyst with me. Pick an additional card. More than one additional card because of... Okay, well, the first thing I want to call attention to is the centerpiece of this spread, which is the heart of the matter. We have the Ace of Swords. Now, this is a card that really speaks about seeing things as they really are. Seeing the truth so you can move forward, because this is a card of forward movement. It's a card of new things. Being an ace, there's that sense of beginnings, new beginnings. But see the water, this deck doesn't really show it as vividly as the Rider-Waite deck, showing that murky water and the sword cutting through all of that and being able to see things more clearly. Now, you are swords, because the swords are the air signs, and we have several sword cards. And they're the Ace of Swords I think of as a nice card. The three and the Five of Swords, not so much. And both of those cards can be connected to some kind of strife. The swords can connect to strife that is coming from other people. In the case of the Three of Swords, that feeling of somebody rejecting you. The case of the Five of Swords, people who are talking behind your back. Maybe they're not being very straightforward in their communication. So they're backbiting, gossiping, slandering. And yeah, this might be a coworker situation, because we have here, oh, but you know what, and this can also be, this is the past position. This can be, anytime you see a three, there could be like a third party involved. So Three of Pentacles, it can be like, Pentacles can be the body and be sex. Okay, so when there's a three, we have two. The Three of Swords is also about what do you call it? Like love triangles. Three parties involved. Now, because the Ace of Pentacles is in the centerpiece of this, you're the one who is bamboozled. You're the one who is having to face the facts about something. So with the Three of Pentacles, that's related to the fact that there's somebody else involved. And I guess it's possible that in some cases, if you are involved with somebody who is involved with somebody else, and you're kind of like the other woman or the other man, whatever the gender may be, you can feel that sense of like, I think that that person is not going to leave that person, and they're going to stay in that relationship. So it can work both ways, I suppose. But the center of this is about you seeing the truth in that and not being in denial. That's the ultimate truth. The higher message is the Ace of Wands. This is the card that has to do with you, again, another ace, new beginnings, but this has to do with your own self, you as an individual. The Ace of Swords is about new ways of looking at a situation and, you know, what your intention is, how you're going to, maybe new strategies. But the Ace of Wands is about that sense of independence, and there's a joyful connotation with this card. I mean, a sense of maybe even rebirth, a sense of like feeling alive. Swords are very much in the mind. You know, it's just like the difference between a fire sign and an air sign. They're both masculine signs. They have things in common and they're supposed to be compatible with one another, but the difference is that the fire energy is much more outwardly enthusiastic, and the air signs can be very cool. Like a Gemini person might be very talkative but still have that air of detachment. And yet this is like something with the Ace of Wands that's very like a child, you know. There's that youthful energy. And another thing too is the Ace of Wands can also be talking about the nature of a relationship that you're involved with. So if you're waiting for somebody to leave a partner, the Ace of Wands may be saying this is just an affair. I had this with another reading and I was interpreting it in a similar way, of like this idea of a relationship not being what you think it is. You're mischaracterizing it maybe, and therefore you're not seeing it as you should be seeing it. Also, if this is work related, this is there is some kind of like negative energy around that. I feel like with the Three of Pentacles, it's almost like that's like a co-worker energy, and there's a cooperation. It's in the upright position. It's cooperation. So maybe it's something where you're seeing the truth about a situation because at one time you might have gotten along with these people. Perhaps there are new people that are coming in, and the dynamic has changed, and there's like these, you know how like if you're with a group of people and if somebody leaves the group and somebody else comes in, that can change the dynamic, especially if that person is not a honest broker. If they are trying to gain control, a lot of times they will poison the well, you know, among different people. What crosses you is a tower, and it's almost like, you know, as I said with another sign that I did this reading, is that the tower is a sense of release and therefore relief, because it's like something is brewing, something is kind of, the pressure is building up with something. And the air signs like Gemini do not want drama, even though the swords are connected to you and they connect to strife sometimes, and you know, that kind of drama. The actual air signs find that abhorrent. You know, you would rather tolerate something that is on the negative side rather than risk somebody getting upset about it and, you know, there being some kind of an explosion like that. And yet sometimes you have to risk all of that coming out, because otherwise it can really create rot, you know, something that just keeps rotting and rotting, and make it even worse. What we have coming in is the Five of Swords, and this can be that sense of, you know, uncovering who is with you and who is against you. Like I was saying with another sign about hidden enemies, you know, that's kind of like connected to the 12th house. Now, there isn't any transit that is connected to that I can think of in the month of March. I'm trying to think, like, you are, you know, it's interesting because the eclipses in 2022 are in Taurus and Scorpio. Now, Taurus is your 12th house. So that is going to be an area that is affected. But the other area that's going to be affected is the 6th house of health and work. And this, you will have a lunar eclipse here in May. And that could be the time when you see, and who knows, I mean, they say that sometimes you can experience these eclipses 6 weeks earlier. So that would, come into the period of time of, or maybe even longer than that, of late March or early April. But in any case, this idea of something that has not been quite right and you don't know why. And also with the Tower, that sense of the unexpected. So a lot of times when people are like, oh my gosh, they're going to pare down the workforce. I don't want to be the one that loses a job. And yet that sense of being so afraid of rocking the boat, that has to be looked at. And we even have as an outcome card, and this is one of the reasons why I picked a couple more, because the outcome is the 4 of Cups. This is a card of dissatisfaction. And that sense of, somebody trying to offer you something that doesn't interest you. And what this can mean is that if for some reason, something comes out about sabotage at work, you may have been already so turned off to everything else that has happened, because it becomes confirmation of what you already suspected, that you are just like done. And with relationships, the same thing. If some kind of secret, like with the 5 of Swords, this can be that somebody is kind of doing double talk, as far as I'm concerned. Like they are telling you, my wife is like, I can't stand her, she's so abusive, she never has a kind word to say about me. And then, if the wife knows about you, he's saying the same thing about you, or he's telling his wife lies. He has no intention of leaving her. Those kinds of things. And so the 4 of Cups can be like, even if you find out about this, and he or she tries to appease you, it's too late. You're not willing to accept it. And so, just wanting to have like kind of a more definitive answer, I just ended up getting myself in deeper, because then I got the 3 of Cups, or the 3 of Swords, another 3. And this is about feelings of rejection. And really, like I like to say, sometimes people, they focus so much on things that are not really important. Like, I thought that we were going to be together, and now I feel like I'm not good enough to leave, for that person to leave me with the other person, for the other person, or I'm not good enough to be left for, no, whatever, you know what I mean. And it's like, that's not the point. The point is that the person is not being honest. And even if they do leave, because I really feel like with the 4 of Cups, that if you're in that type of situation, the person may say, I'm leaving, and you don't care anymore. You're like, no, stay, because I don't want to deal with it. But, when I picked a clarification card, it just was showing that sense of you feeling bad about yourself because of the situation, instead of thinking about how you stayed involved with somebody that was already taken. Now, if this has nothing to do with that, and it has to do with kind of that negative energy around the workplace, the 3 of Swords to me is something, being in a situation that's generating a negative self-concept, a feeling of rejection, a feeling of being overlooked, or something like that, and it's not healthy. So even if somebody is trying to make good make up for it, it may be something that you want to avoid so that you don't feel that sense of being in a toxic environment and things like that. So I picked an additional card and I got the Lover's card. Now the Lover's card is connected to Gemini. I don't know if you know that. And of course, it has the obvious connotation of love and intimacy. Yeah, it can be sexual, but it can be emotional intimacy. But it's also a card of choice. And I think in this reading, it's like you do have a choice. So you may feel like you have no choice. Like, people say, I have to stay at this job. I don't have a choice. No, you don't. You do have a choice. You could walk out. Now, it may not be that wise to do it if you don't have any other prospects. So, but it's not true to characterize your situation as not having a choice. And to me, words are very important because if we misstate what we're dealing with, it's very hard to see a way out because we're not even willing to be honest about what our situation entails. That's why affirmations, I think, are very powerful because they override old programming. So anyway, as long as you can see that you have a choice, then you have, like with the Ace of Swords, you have a clear head. You can see what you need to do. And you may say, I'm not staying in this job. You may say, I am staying in this job for 6 more months and I'm going to save as much money as I can. You have all these options, what you can do. But if you know that you're in a situation that isn't supportive of you, then you have the ability to make a different choice. And the same thing with the relationship issues. Okay, that's what I have for you, Gemini. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, I do a lot of astrology readings and using your natal charts, so you can check out those. I do private tarot readings as well. I have like double readings, which are a great value. You can check out my offerings at the link below. Thanks for watching. Take care.